So let's just kind of go back to that very first conversation. We got talking, and you started to share some of your background, and you're such both humble individuals. Yet you've had 20 years experience interviewing celebrities, business icons. The information you must have gathered about people must be tremendous. So let's start with Maria's story here. Maria, why and how did you get started with interviewing people?
Well, Bijal, a lot like you, I was born in Saigon, Vietnam, and came over to the States in a refugee in a big military ship, and was a refugee for several months and landed in Belton, Missouri. So I grew up thinking I was blonde hair and blue-eyed. I wanted to be, the cheerleader, and I wanted to be the popular kid, just like what most kids want to do. And it was about around 13 years of age, I started watching, I think it was like true Hollywood stories, biographies or something like that. And it started to ignite a fire in me, because I was curious about, how does somebody become a superstar? How did they become a film star and get to the top of their game? And I was really intrigued with the Hollywood world. But as I looked around, there was nobody on the screen that looked like me. There was no Vietnamese girls on the big screen. So I suppressed it. I wasn't sure what that was going to be. I mean, I knew that I didn't want to be an actor. But fast forward, when I met Ray, and he was an EMS, emergency medical service speaker, and he was speaking at keynote conferences, and was a firefighter paramedic. And I teamed up with him. Well, I naturally fell into his business, which was running the marketing side, because he was also speaking and training EMS professionals. And then one day he just kind of asked me, if there's anything that you want to do, what would that be? And I was really nervous to share this, because I felt so vulnerable, and I felt really foolish and silly. And I said, well, I would really love to have a success talk show interviewing celebrities and influencers and people who have achieved great things in their lives, because there's no map, there's no guide for children to learn how to go after their dreams, or even how to pursue something like that. And he basically said, well, let's figure this out. And
time out, Maria. One second. Yeah. Ray, you give your wife the permission to say, hey, wife, what would you like to do? Anything in the world. And your wife basically says, oh, I want to be a celebrity interviewer. I have no experience. I'm not the typical model. What was your immediate thought, Ray, about what Maria just said to you?
Yeah, well, this is crazy, because I was stable. I mean, being a firefighter is one of the most stable professions in the world. And to hear something like that, and to go into something that is completely another world to us, was mind-boggling. So actually, I stuffed it for a little while. I tucked it away. And Bijal, something happened. I started to own that dream. I started to think about, I don't have to have this stable profession. I don't have to stick. I don't even have to stay in Canada, because Maria was an American. So when she presented that to me, and I said, let's go do this. First of all, everybody on the fire department thought I was absolutely crazy. Yeah. And I actually thought we were crazy. Which is
kind of ironic, Ray, since you guys run into fires. Like, for most of us sitting here, the thought of running into fires, that kind of sounds crazy. But go ahead. That kind of gives us an idea of the kind of caliber of people you guys really are.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a short story, a short version of a very long story. It was a rough road for us because we had no media background, and we took a major leap of faith, and we just went out there. We ended up losing everything financially. We lost our home. I took my retirement income. I dumped it into the production. We thought in order to be a talk show, you had to be a big, kind of like an Oprah style studio talk show. So we booked a theater out at Planet Hollywood, the V Theater, and we shot about 6 pilot shows and then ran out of money. And guess what? 2008 hit. It just wiped us out completely. So we were actually in a position to move forward in the only way that we knew how, and that was to move forward with what we had, and that was each other and a camera. We didn't have any budget for any shows, so we actually went to a convention. It was the National Association of Broadcasters convention. I remember one of our video editors actually said, "Why don't you go there and you'll learn a little bit about the industry," because we knew nothing. So when we arrived, I realized that the majority of the people there in the broadcast world were terrified about the change that was happening in the media world. And that was this evil thing called the internet was coming. And they couldn't figure out how to make this work for them. They didn't know how to make it work financially. So when we were trying to learn broadcast, and they were actually trying to learn new media, a big light bulb went on. And I said to Maria, I said, we don't need to get into broadcast. We need to get into what we're already into, and that's new media. That's the world that we understood. So we decided to move forward with what we knew, and we did it in a bootstrap fashion. And that was basically, again, it was only us and a camera. And our editor, our editor said, why don't you get onto a red carpet? Because you can actually Ray can learn how to use the camera, and you can get access to some interviews that way. So we did. Maria, being the expert positioner that she is and master negotiator, and loving person, trusting person, she sweet talked a few publicity agencies, and we ended up getting not only our first red carpet, but we ended up getting an exclusive interview with the legendary Stevie Wonder in his room privately for about 10 minutes while many other media outlets were shut out. Now that's a story in itself, how that happened.
So Maria, 20 years of interviewing celebrities.
Quit saying that. You're making me feel so old. Gosh.
But it's the wealth of wisdom that you guys have from being both sides of the mic, or at least the interviewing side of the mic, and learning the nuggets from celebrities and even business icons itself. And I know that's what we basically embedded into today's workshop. So we will come back to you guys in just a moment. We're going to continue on with the show, with the workshop. But thank you guys so much for joining myself and Casey for sharing your wisdom today. If you didn't realize, what I just did was essentially from several weeks of training Ray and Maria. So that was almost an interview style introduction. And that's what we want, guys, we want to get across to you of how you can do that on both sides of the mic to expand your business. So with that said, Ray and Maria, thank you so much for playing along. I know that I didn't actually tell you that's what I was going to do to introduce you, but if anyone picked up on that, it would have been you guys.